Mr. Nick Davis.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's been a while, sir.
just a little bit. I think life got busy for all of us, or both of us, well, and our families. So yeah, it's been a good few.
Oh,
What's new with you?
I'll tell you exactly what's new with me. Um, from last night when I got home from spending time with my brother and a friend until Thursday evening when I go to the Kamala Harris campaign kickoff,
Yeah.
I've got nothing to do. The only time I'll ever leave the house between now and Thursday, this being Saturday noon, is to get groceries and to go on walks.
Nice. Hey.
So, it's so nice. I'm reading. I've got a big fall. I've got in October. I'm going to start volunteering with a homeless group, homeless outreach.
Okay.
I'm going to do a podcast called The Brambled Path with a fellow named Nick Davis. I'm
Nice.
joining a meditation class.
Mm-hmm.
I have Mary and I have gone to our first um, pottery
Oh,
class. We're going to
okay.
go to three, and then we're going to have a membership in a pottery studio.
Nice.
And I'm taking a course on gardening.
Okay. Okay. What kind of
So,
gardening?
and also I'm taking, I'm learning the Scots Gaelic language. I've been doing that for a year. Um,
You've been working on Scots Gaelic language for a year now?
yeah,
My
yeah, yeah.
gosh.
Well, October 1st I started,
Yeah.
so 11 months. Um, what kind of gardening? Backyard crop gardening,
Yeah.
produce.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
I
Yeah,
started humble. Huh?
we I've got some friends and family who are here in the Northwest that getting really big into permaculture. Um
Yeah. I've
yeah.
got two books on that I'm going to read after I take my two courses on gardening.
Yeah, just kind of working with you mean it's all organic really. But I
Yeah,
mean it's just about replenishing and renewing sort of naturally. I mean, using biomes that break down and fungals and mycelium and things that just really are overall good for the planet and the earth and produce great produce or plants or whatever your flavor of um, growth material is, right? So
exactly. Yeah, that's just beautiful. That's wonderful.
yeah, it's really neat.
Say hello to them for me and give them
I
a
will.
bow of respect.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you ever get out to Oregon, one of my friends out there in Oregon, they have a pretty good farm that they're doing it all on. So um, yeah, they're becoming experts in it. So
Oh,
very
that's
cool.
really
That's a lot of
impressive.
good
That's
hobbies. That sounds like a lot of good hobbies.
keep me busy. Keep me
Yeah,
busy. Make retirement a worthwhile time of life.
yeah,
So now in the green room before we came on, you told me that you had some things to share from your last 3.5 weeks, Nick.
yeah. I mean, it's been busy, that's for sure. Concerts, trips, camping experiences. Again, more coming up this week for before Labor Day. We're going to Montana to see some cousins and my aunt, uncle in Missoula, and going to see the Pink concert there. My kids are excited. I'm excited. I like Pink too, but
Yeah, yeah,
it'll
yeah.
be a good time.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so one of the things when we it's gosh, it's been I mean almost to the year when we met. Um,
Yeah,
via Amazon's Creation Exchange or
yeah,
the Audible Creation Exchange for narrating, or for me to narrate the audio version of Heart Like a Bonfire, your book, and and I remember that time being I had a friend who was on hospice.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a good college friend, and had missed the big camping trip that we just got back from with all of my college friends. You know, we have about
Ah,
16 families. You know, it's a 65, 70 of us taking over a campground, just having a good time for
cool.
4 or 5 days. And so, yeah, that was, we just wrapped that up this last week. And so this was, last year was the first year kind of without him, and his family as well. And then this year, his wife, and his two boys, they rallied and they came, and so it was really good to see them. And when I started narrating and doing the work on Heart Like a Bonfire, um, he had been on hospice, and he passed away actually, right around Labor Day.
Right.
And so yeah, that really, it just, the way things worked out, it was a good time and experience. And so I got a chance to really visit with his wife, um,
Ah,
this trip. So it
yeah,
was a good time, and I talked a lot about my experience with Heart Like a Bonfire, how it really helped me, and not in a way of like, pitchy, like, here, you should read this kind of thing, or it's just like, hey, she actually asked about my experience with narrating, and I was like, well, here's what I do, and here's what I
yeah.
did, and
Yeah.
you know,
What's
um,
her name?
uh, Heather. Her name is Heather.
Heather. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, it was just a really good experience to see her, to be able to talk about it, and just kind of candidly, hear her experiences. Like, how has the year been? What's going on? She's like, it's been really shitty, you know. Um, and I talked about our podcast and whatnot, and um, I was really proud to describe your work with the garden, um, your work, your workbook, and how that evolved, and just discussing it with you, and learning your tools, healing through the triage phase, healing through um, ceremonial observances and the meditation parts of it. And so I was able to just kind of share that with her, and just say, that was really interesting, and it really helped me. And you know just kind of hearing how she's been kind of working through things. And there's no one size fits all in any of this. People just kind of go about their ways. She's not a care provider, but she works in health care related kind of sales rep stuff. So she's in and out of hospitals a lot. So um, that's been one thing that's been really hard for her, is to do that work where she's going in and out of medical facilities when you're re-experiencing those traumas, those experiences, those heartfelt emotions of being with your loved one, enduring a rough year, with a quarter of that year being on hospice. So, but yeah, so I just wanted to share the circle of life, um, and relationships, and how impactful the work that you've done, that we're doing, can really be, even if it only reaches a small audience, and has the potential to have a big impact. So I thought that was important to bring up, as we kind of embark on our anniversary of friendship and partnership here. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
Beautiful. Well, Heather, if you're watching, our hearts are with you today and all days.
yes,
That's
I
quite a thing to go through.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
And doing it with two young boys, that are missing, and experiencing their own challenges without their father. So
I can relate to her experience. I lost my wife at a young age and had two young girls. So,
yeah,
it's hard.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, Heather's in our. We dedicate this episode to Heather.
Oh, thank you.
How about
Yeah,
that?
that's sweet. Thank you.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So thank you for letting me have that moment to reflect, and to um, to bring her and that experience into our journey here.
You're more than welcome, but also you told me that you had a concert. Was it Pink in
Yeah. So
Missoula?
okay. So
You haven't been there yet.
we've been concert busy. Went to Seattle for a concert for the kids. Big pop star. But then my wife booked a concert that was local, real cool in Spokane, Washington venue called the Knitting Factory.
Oh,
And
wow. Yeah, I know the Knitting Factory.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
because I read uh, Americana magazine, and
hmm
also Acoustic Songwriter magazine, and I used to read
cool.
another one that's gone out of business, and they do ads for concerts,
Yeah,
and the Knitting Factory in Spokane comes up.
really cool. Well, this
Yeah.
is my
Mhm.
first show there. I've never been there, honestly. Like, but what a cool place, right? And two, it's ironic because of course you mentioned, acoustic songwriters, things like that. Um, the so my wife had seen this young lady perform as kind of an opener or part of a festival with some other musicians that she really likes, and so when she heard that she was here or coming, she was like, oh, we should go. And she just like, my wife is not the I'm usually the executor of things and getting, and so for
Yeah.
her I was like, hell yeah, way to go. So yeah, she took that initiative. She was like, date night, we got these tickets. And I'm like, cool. And I'm like, man, this is in the middle of all this busyness and all this stuff. But yes, we need a date night. We need some time. So the artist, her name is, I'm hope I'm saying it right, but Joy Oladokun. She is a first generation Nigerian immigrant that I think her parents, she grew up in Arizona, did some, everybody goes out to LA if you're a musician.
Right.
And then she ended up in Nashville. So she's out in Nashville now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You go to
so,
LA and end up in Nashville.
I know I joked with my wife about that. And she even mentions it in her song, go figure. But yeah, so she's kind of gotten a lot of bit, gotten big. She has a really good sound, good voice. Very, what's the word I'm thinking of? Kind of influence with some folk, some R&B, a little bit of pop. I wouldn't say too much, but she's also she had some experience. She went into ministry, Bible college, studies. But she's queer. So she kind of had that in mixed challenged relationship with Christ, and still has her faith and all that too, but at the same time is very, very active in the LGBTQ
Yeah, that's just
movements.
lovely.
So, yeah. So I bring that up because, and to tie this with the Metacrisis here, um, her music, her sound, and when I was listening to it, was just really inspiring because of what she talks about with and here I'm going to quote some words from one of her songs. It's called Changes, and it's her album. I think it came out last year. And again, I just learned of this gal and started listening to it, so it's like, man, timing is everything, right? Like we're talking about Metacrisis. She's one of these people who's rising up, who's standing up, even though she's obviously very what do you call it, introverted, talented, and she's on a public stage, but she's introverted and, you know, not shy about mental health and that kind of stuff. But so what she says, newspaper says the world's on fire, people yelling and the water's rising. It's easy to feel kind of anxious. Yeah, we've thought it was the end of time, but we're still holding on and we're still trying. Life's always been a little dangerous, but I don't want to stay the same. So I'm trying to keep up with the changes. And so I just and this song is a little bit more on the nose with regards to Metacrisis and what we talk about. Um, and others it's more subtle, obviously. But yeah, I just had to share this young lady's viewpoints and experience and how it impacted in the correlations here, because I just thought it was so beautiful. And I know we always talk about something musically here. I think Joni Mitchell lyrics and so on. So I thought I'd share that
I love it.
I know
I love
you
it.
would
What's the
appreciate
last
it.
name?
Uh, Oladokun. O
Oladokun.
Oladokun.
Look her up today.
Oladokun. Yeah. So,
Okay.
but yeah, check her out. She's got some good stuff. She hit a little bit of fame because she did a duet with Chris Stapleton.
Oh,
So she got some work there. But
that's pretty big.
yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, that not a plug. I'm not being paid by Joy and her publicist. Just something I had to appreciate it, and I just feel, these are the people out in the real world doing the work
Yeah.
that we talk about and doing their part in this metacrisis, right?
Very good. Thank you, Joy, if
Yeah.
you're watching.
I'll
And thank you,
send this
Nick.
email to her. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, good. So thank you. And so today I'm going to present what I have to present. All
Okay.
right. You
Yeah.
ready for the transition?
I'm ready. What do you got?
Yeah, it's gonna continue in the vein of, we talked about the 4 ways to negotiate the meta-crisis. I'll backtrack and talk about what the meta-crisis is, but we talked about, um, awaken, wake up, clean up, uh, show up. What's the other one? There's another one.
Oh my gosh. Why am I drawing a blank now?
Yeah, I'm
That's
drawing
what
a
happens
blank.
when you're on a spot.
Huh?
Oh, I said that's what happens when I'm like, oh, I'm on a spot. Uh,
Right. Wake
freeze.
up, clean up, grow up, and show up. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. There we
This
go.
is continuing in the vein of talking about waking up. But I
Okay.
wanted to backtrack for people who haven't seen us before and uh, just do a real quick thumbnail sketch of what the metacrisis is.
Hmm.
Um, for those who haven't seen previous episodes, the metacrisis is a good way of kind of gathering together all the different crises that we have facing us these days. Um, if you think about it, there's just so much going on. Um, and I think of it, my contribution is contributing to what's upstream of the meta crisis. How to um, change things a little bit so that the meta crisis doesn't manifest as severely. Meta crisis is one, a crisis of mental health, so that you have um, a epidemic of school shootings, suicide, and depression,
Hmm.
and more.
Right.
Two, economic inequality, wealth inequality, so that it's the worst since the 1920s. The wealth being more and more of the wealth being in fewer and fewer hands,
Right.
so that a lot of people are suffering severely financially.
Hmm.
There is environmental degradation, and that has many different faces to it. Um, I was rattling them off, and I mentioned almost quaintly pollution, and
Hmm.
then the next week I said, yeah, it sounds almost quaint, but we got to remember there's a oil slick the size of Rhode Island in the Gulf Coast,
Right.
in the Gulf Ocean. So environmental degradation, social media manipulation,
Mm.
all the crazy, what do they call those? Conspiracy theories, um,
Right.
nutcase people out there in positions of prominence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, there are an educational breakdown.
Hmm.
You know, um, we have it severely in our inner city here in Milwaukee Public Schools. I have a friend who has been heavily involved in Milwaukee. I have two friends who have been heavily involved in Milwaukee Public Schools, and they both say it's just It's just a dire
Yeah.
situation, so that you wind up electing 80 million people wind up voting for a sociopath.
Right.
That's one of the manifestations of it.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Another thing is peak oil. I'm not sure if I put that in the list before, but as I'm reading more and more about it, and this is not exactly environmental um, degradation. This is more along the lines of we are. It's a finite amount of oil in the world, right?
Right.
And we're using it faster and faster.
Hmm.
Um, that's a train heading towards the terminus at a faster and faster rate.
Right.
And the closer you get, that means that there's less and less oil in the world. It gets harder to access, to drill. It's more expensive to drill.
Hmm.
So you desperately need to find alternative fuels.
Right.
But meanwhile, while we're working on cultivating that and we're debating, and oil companies are saying, no, there's no problem. Oil gets more and more expensive because it's less and less. All
Scarcity.
this,
Yeah.
all this stuff, put it all together, and also the collapse of faith in institutions.
Hmm.
Who here believes strongly that the Supreme Court of the United States now is a force for justice in the world? After saying that the president has immunity if he commits a crime.
Right. Right.
Um, so that's what the subject of this podcast is for the most part at this point. We talked about grief earlier on and how to cope
Hmm.
with it. And some of that comes into play. I talked about it first because it can come into play in how we deal with the metacrisis.
Right.
But I'm also talking now about um, wake up, clean up, grow up, and show up. And we did a thumbnail sketch of them.
Right.
But today I wanted to talk a little bit more about waking up because I've had some reflections in the last 3 weeks.
Mm.
Um, and been doing some reading. Um, the Democratic National Convention, I was inspired.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it. I was happy to see that I thought the best speech was given on the last night by the nominee.
Yeah.
Although, we all liked a lot of different of the speeches, but I was happy to see that.
Yeah.
Um, and during it, I was thinking about uh, Native American perspectives.
Oh.
I read this book. It's not a Native American. Let me see if I can get it right up
Pass it
here.
on. Okay.
Pass it on, Joanna Macy.
Okay.
She doesn't only talk about Native American. She talks about Tibetan and Russian and Australian perspectives. Really beautiful book. It's only 112 pages. I highly
Yeah.
endorse it. We're going to read from it at length today
Okay.
in a ceremony. But in the Democratic convention, they were talking about we've only got 80 days left.
Yeah.
Until November 6th. And this is the time frame that we're fixated on. If she gets elected, then we've got to get this done in the next 4 years. We've got to environmental degradation creates urgency that we act now. You know,
Yeah.
um, but we've got to get a lot done in the next 4 years. We've got to do what we can to um, stabilize the country, revive democracy, that sort of thing.
Right.
Um, 8 years, maybe 12 years, maybe. And the perspective that I was thinking about is the Native American one of the chapters in this book. She's talking about the Iroquois
Uh-huh.
who they had the longhouse in which they would have deliberations. It basically was a precursor to democracy. The
Oh.
founding fathers were aware of it and borrowed from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was matriarchal. A lot of women mainly dominated.
Yeah.
We didn't follow that aspect. But uh, in their deliberations about how to treat the land and how to um, relate to non-human species of life
Mm-hmm.
and how to cultivate peace, their perspective was 7 generations. How
Wow.
will this decision that we're making impact the well-being of people for the next 7 generations?
Wow.
You know, and I think of a generation as being 25 years. I've heard somebody say 20 years. I've heard other people say 30, but we'll go with mine for the sake of the math. That's 175 years. Who
Yeah.
in our culture is talking about um, decisions for the well-being of the land and peace, prosperity, and non-human species for the next 175 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, this is the same group of people who, there's a growing movement in America that Native Americans are wanting. They're saying our land was stolen. We want land back.
Uh-huh.
The Iroquois are saying we don't want the land back. We don't want a bunch of stuff. We want you, white people, to do what you can to heal the land and to think about how it will survive for the next 175 years.
Yeah. Be better stewards of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Beautiful. So that's one aspect. I was, thinking about um, the Democratic convention and also the fact that there's a lot, and I enjoyed it. I watched it every night and I enjoyed it, but there's a lot of rhetoric about this vision and this thing and that thing. And I just was thinking, it's all in the small steps,
Yeah.
you know, it's all, let's do this one good thing here
Mm-hmm.
and this one good thing and this one good thing. And I'll do my one thing and you do yours. And collectively over time, we'll develop a system,
Right.
you know. So that's all lead up to the next thing I'm going to say, which is that another thing that the Iroquois did is they had a ceremony of Thanksgiving.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think of um, in our Western culture, fewer and fewer people go to church,
Mm.
and that's fine. But what we've lost in that, um, and we haven't really replaced it adequately, is observation of ceremony, a sense of the transcendent.
Mm.
You had this weekly meeting, which, for all its flaws and its regressive tendencies, had ceremony, transcendence, and cultivation of community
Right.
when it was functioning in a healthy manner.
Yeah.
Um, and the Native Americans have not lost it, and in fact, it's making a comeback.
Oh, okay.
It's regenerative. They're having more and more of these ceremonies. They're learning their languages
Oh.
again. They're learning their crafts again. They're
Mm-hmm.
learning their music.
That's
They're
cool.
learning their 175-year perspective that all of us can learn from and figure out how to adapt it to our lives.
Right.
So I'm going to read this thing, and it's about a 10 or 15-minute thing, but I'm going to offer you a chance to speak before I do if you have anything you want to say.
No, no. I think it's a. I mean, when I think of these perspectives, and bringing in some of the good of different cultural viewpoints, it really is to kind of talk about this, wake up and grow up, mature, and then show up. It's not rocket science. It's
Yeah.
just the cultural human ways of life that have existed for centuries that we're losing touch with, and that's what I think is brilliant about this, and taking that in. And here's a modern day example of a small group of humans in this planet that. But yeah, take it away.
Okay. Take it away. So this is, I first came upon this Thanksgiving prayer um, from a writer called Robin Wall Kimmerer. Have you ever heard of her?
I have not. Mm-mm.
She wrote a book called Braiding Sweetgrass. Really a beautiful book. I loved it. And I read it once. I'll probably read it a second time. And she quoted it in there. And then I bumped into it in the writings of Gary Snyder. He did a translation of it. I didn't think it was as good as Robin Wall Kimmerer's translation. And now here it is with Joanna Macy again.
Okay.
And she points out, before we do, she points out the importance of gratitude, that it has a subversive quality to it, in the sense that our culture, our advertising culture, is based on um, you shouldn't be happy with what you have. You need to get more.
Uh,
And maybe you yourself aren't good enough until you have this Buick,
right.
or until you have these blue jeans, or until you have this cosmetic. If you would get this, if you would acquire this product or this service, then you really will have an improved personality,
Mm-hmm.
improved life, improved
Right.
image. Image is everything, as they said in the 80s. And
Gotcha.
she points out that to instead live a life of gratitude, and yes, there's hard times that you're not really thankful for, um, but just pausing to think, I'm so grateful that I have green tea, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful that you and I are talking,
Right.
I'm so thankful that after this, I have the option of taking a nap if I want to, but I'm definitely going to have some salad.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
etc. Um, that you just it liberates you and helps you wake up
Yeah.
for the Metacrisis. So now we'll read it. So this is in a ceremonial mode.
Gotcha.
So for you, Nick, and for me to do what we need to do to kind of get into a ceremonial mode, and for the people listening,
Mm-hmm.
um, the same. I'll just before I start, I'll pull down my windshields, and we'll just take 3 breaths, and then I'll start the Mohawk Thanksgiving prayer, which is very similar to the Iroquois approach.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so to meditate. Today, Oh, the people is the headline. Today we have gathered and we see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all lived things. So now we connect our minds and we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one. The Earth Mother. We are all thankful to our Mother, the Earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk about upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our Mother, we send greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. The water. We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the Spirit of water. Now our minds are one. The fish. We turn our minds to all the fish life in the water. They are instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us as food. We are grateful that we can still find pure water. So we turn now to the fish and send our greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. The plants. Now we turn toward the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They make us happy with a multitude of colors and shapes. They sustain many life forms. They give us an abundance of materials from which we can make useful things for our lives. Medicinal herbs are the pharmacy of nature, and there is an herb for every disease. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life for many future generations to come. Now our minds are one. The food plants. With one mind, we turn to honor and thank all the plant foods we harvest from the garden. Since the beginning of time, the grains, vegetables, beans, and berries have helped the people survive. Many other living things draw strength from them too. We gather all the food plants together as one and send them a greeting and thanks. Now our minds are one. Now we turn to all the medicine herbs. Oh, the medicine herbs, sorry. Now we turn to all the medicine herbs of the world. From the beginning, they were instructed to take away sickness. They are always waiting and ready to heal us. We are happy there are still among us those special few who remember how to use these plants for healing. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the medicines and to the keeper of the medicines. Now our minds are one. The animals. We gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all animal life in the world. They have many things to teach us as people. Animals give us their lives so that they serve us as our food. We see them near our homes and in the deep forests. We are glad they are still here and hope that it will always be so. Now our minds are one. The trees. We turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Trees store water and cleanse the air. They are the lungs of the earth. Some provide us with shelter and shade. others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many peoples of the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind, we greet and thank the tree life. Now our minds are one. We put the birds, we put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about over our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs. Each day they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, we send our joyful greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. The four winds. We are thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the moving air as they refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help to bring the change of the seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds. Now our minds are one. The thunderers. Now we turn to the west where our grandfathers, the thunder beings, live. With lightning and thundering voices, they bring with them the water that renews life. We bring our minds together as one to send greetings and thanks to our grandfathers, the thunderers. Now our minds are one. Our eldest brother, the sun. We now send greetings and thanks to our eldest brother, the sun. Each day, without fail, he travels the sky from east to west, bringing the light of a new day. He is the source of all the fires of life. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our brother, the sun. Now our minds are one. Grandmother, moon. We put our minds together and give thanks to our oldest grandmother, the moon, who lights the nighttime sky. She is the leader of women all over the world, and she governs the movements of the ocean tides. By her changing face, we measure time, and it is the moon who watches over the arrival of children here on earth. With one mind, we sing greetings and thanks to our grandmother, the moon. Now our minds are one. The stars. We give thanks to the stars who are spread across the sky like jewelry. We see them in the night, helping the moon to light the darkness and bring dew to the garden and growing things. When we travel at night, they guide us home. With our minds gathered together as one, we sing greetings and thanks to all the stars. Now our minds are one. The enlightened teachers. We gather our minds to greet and thank the enlightened teachers who have come to help throughout the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the way we are instructed to live in peace as people and remind us of the knowledge that has been given to us. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to these caring teachers. Now our minds are one. The Creator. Now we turn our thoughts to the Creator, or Great Spirit, and send greetings and thanks for the gifts of creation. Everything we need to live a good life is here on this Mother Earth. For all the love that is still around us, we gather our minds together as one and send our choicest words of greetings and thanks to the Creator. Now our minds as one. Closing words. We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send such greetings and thanks in their own way. Now our minds are one. Pass it on. Joanna Macy, it's in here.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's I mean it when I think of exercises, meditations, mindfulness practice in gratitude, there's something in this for everyone,
Hmm.
and or all of it. Um, I think that it's important for people to not feel overwhelmed and also know that themes come and go in your day, in your week, in your month that may give way to practicing this thanks for such things. I'm not always out enjoying a beautiful clear night sky to thank the stars, and that may not be on my mind, but I may be grateful for the rain, for the water, because I have clouds. And so I think that the natural order of things sort of gives way to being grateful for the current present moment, whatever that looks like.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, when I read this to myself
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving Day,
Okay.
we have in our country this kind of a clash of narratives. The Pilgrims and their peaceable meal with the natives. On the
Mm-hmm.
first Thanksgiving, and sort of. I don't know about you, but we grew up seeing that as this very um, idyllic thing, and then we later heard that the Pilgrims killed the Indians at some point.
Right, right.
Yeah. So then there's people who say, "Well, therefore, I'm not going to observe Thanksgiving,"
Yeah.
and that didn't resonate with me because of the simplicity of what the holiday really is. Of You forget about the narrative of the Pilgrims and the Indians, and you think about getting together with family for to give thanks with gratitude.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then to have this Thanksgiving prayer from the Indians is a great way of kind of turning the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been posting this on Facebook three
Oh,
Thanksgivings in a row. It's just
how
it just
do you? Is it like a whole script that you're posting, or is
yes,
it?
what I
Uh,
just read you.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, what I just read you. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I read it not first in this book, Pass It On by Joanna Macy, but by Robin Wall Kimmerer braiding sweetgrass. And when I read it, I thought this is a perfect um, transformation
Yeah.
of Thanksgiving narrative.
Mm-hmm.
To have it be an act of a ceremony of Thanksgiving from the natives.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Um, of course, while you began to mention, I did. I looked it up, um, and I can. I
The
will.
book.
No, the Thanksgiving address. Um,
Oh,
yeah. So
you
I
have it.
do. I do. I will put a link in the description of the video here for our viewers. It's from the where are we at here? Go back to this. The National Museum of the American Indian. They have a
Beautiful.
PDF version of it. So
Yeah.
I will. I'll put that link to that in the description for our video here today.
A
Um,
brilliant programming touch.
yeah, yeah. So people can have it quick reference there. Um, but yeah, I think it looks like most the versions all stem from, as you mentioned, the Mohawk tribe. I
Yeah.
think this one says something about, and I don't forgive my ignorance with Native American, uh, and I have not heard of this group. The Haudenosaunee, I can't even say it. Haudenosaunee.
Well, that's another name for Iroquois. I don't know how they have two names. If one is a subset of the other, I'm as ignorant as you. I heard the word Haudenosaunee last
Yeah.
week for the first time, and it was used. It was used at the same time as Iroquois.
Yeah.
Like they're the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Um, According to Robin Wall Kimmerer's book, it's
Mm-hmm.
pronounced Haudenosaunee. Haudenosaunee.
Haudenosaunee. Okay.
So interesting. But yeah, I think very interesting. And I'll definitely put that in there for our viewers and people watching afterward to have a copy of that. But I think I always think of people waking up, showing up. One of personally, my challenge is overwhelm. There's so much.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do. And so anytime I can think of a way to parse it or break it down into digestible little bits, then that fits my lifestyle, my learning style, whatever it may be, my practice. And so I think, people, um, get the big picture of it, but then also just integrate that into an everyday practice of notice, and then notice that it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It could be an exercise in gratitude, and it really can help an outlook for your overall day and how you interact with people and how you interact with the environment and how you approach a task. I mean, I think that's really um, it's a really good daily, weekly, monthly, whatever you can handle, whatever you have bandwidth for. Um,
I bet there's amongst our 2 or 3 million viewers. I bet there's at least 600,000,
yeah,
700,000 who um, nudge nudge wink wink who are also feeling overwhelmed.
yeah, yeah,
I'm retired and I'm still I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not overwhelmed anymore, but it's kind of like uh, give me some space here, people.
yeah, yeah. So true, so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was an excellent little exercise and way of, just like you said, waking up. And it's interesting, the word wake up, because it gets thrown and mixed in, which with the word woke. And
Yeah, yeah,
how
yeah, yeah.
that's become, instead of a positive thing that you're woke, it's now become a negative thing, meaning that
Right.
you're being mind controlled. And it's just like, you know what, people, semantics. It's open your eyes, see things for what they really are, um, and come to your own viewpoints and conclusions as you will. But as long as you continue to be grateful for um, all these elements that really just define this human existence and define the beauty of the miracle that we live in. So
Exactly. And next time we meet, Nick,
yeah,
I have another really, really good practice. It's as good as this one.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm not even going to say what it is
all right,
because I want people to be on pins and needles for 2 weeks.
nice. Awesome.
So, do you have anything more to say,
Great.
Nick?
I don't have anything to add on that front. Um, I am thinking about this journey with the series here, and in my mind, I think of some future things that I'm stay tuned. I'm kind of as I establish availability to do things, but definitely working more towards expanding the platform of which we get this information out, and looking at our options there.
Yeah,
Always
yeah,
will
yeah.
still have our video, you know, as it works out, continue to live stream it with playback afterward for anybody who wants. But yeah, just stay tuned. I think uh, there'll be some things I can manage to get done with regards to an audio only um, episode versions that we can promote a little bit easier and don't require someone to be tuned in physically watching versus listening. So
Okay, cool.
so yeah, that's some things I'm working on outside of this but this space. But yeah,
Lovely.
come on that. A little
I'm
teaser
all
for it.
ears
Yeah.
for when that
So
comes.
yep. Very cool. But yeah, no, that's I think I have a lot in my mind with regards to the Thanksgiving address and how that's going to carry me in this day and probably the week. So and hopefully longer. So I
Beautiful.
will I think that's a good way. I think that's a good place to leave off
I
everybody in
do
their,
too.
their hearts, minds, and yeah. So
Yeah. And Heather, if you're watching, bless you and your
thank
children.
you again. Yes, thank you. All right, we'll see you next time. Take care.
Good to be with you.